Hello and happy Monday, everybody. I am so excited to be here with y'all tonight and to share some nuggets from the book. So, for those of you that are watching the recording or those of you that did not know, we started in January a book study by author Ed Milet. The book is called The Power of One More. If you have not read it or gotten it, I strongly encourage you to do so. Hopefully, after I drop some nuggets, you're going to be more curious and you're going to want to go get it. And even more exciting, I get like all fangirlish. Ed Milet is going to be the keynote speaker in Dallas at the Plexus Convention this year. So excited. I absolutely love listening to his podcast. I have thoroughly enjoyed reading the book. I listened to it on Audible as well. So much good stuff. So the concept of one more is just that. It is doing one more. The book breaks it down. There are 19 chapters in the book, and each chapter focuses on, and some of them are linked. I'm going to kind of go through as fast as I can because I have about 20 minutes to drop a lot for you. But I'm going to kind of go through and give you a tip or two that I pulled out from each chapter. And you're going to see how some of them flow into each other. Some of them are more standalone chapters. But overall, the book is an amazing book. If you are here and you want any kind of personal growth, you want to do this as a business, then this is definitely a book that you need to add to your list for 2025. Okay, so the very first chapter, One More Identity. He talks about how we have to align our goals with who we are, right? Because if we're trying to do something that feels icky, and I'm not talking about comfort zone, I'm going to get to that in a bit. But if we're feeling like it just doesn't feel right, then it's not aligned with who you are. He talks about our identity is our values, our thoughts, our concepts, and our beliefs. And he kind of touches on this in the book, but one thing that I have always loved, and I use this a lot when I'm coaching, is that it is one big cycle, this thought cycle, right? And what we believe, the thoughts that we have floating through our head, and y'all, the women, I think it's all women on here right now. Sorry, men, if you're tuning in to the recording, but how many thoughts do us women have in a day, right? Those thoughts kind of guide our feelings. Oh, I feel fat today. Now I think I'm fat. Now I feel fat. It's just going to spiral, right? Or I think I'm pretty today. I feel pretty today. I'm going to be singing West Side Story on my way to work today, right? Our thoughts fuel our feelings fuel our actions, and our actions drive results. Thoughts, feelings, actions, results. That one more identity is we have to align all of that together. We have to pay attention to the self-sabotaging thoughts that destroy who we want to be. He talks about one more and living in your matrix. And this took me a while. I think I had to listen to this chapter twice and I had to read it in print because I kind of really struggled with what he was saying here and just that I didn't understand. Because he talks about the movie The Matrix, and I'm old enough to remember going to see the movie The Matrix, and I remember walking out of the movie Matrix and not really understanding it. But it is this concept that we have the power to change our reality. And I always like to say to people, if you don't like where you are, then change it. If what's that phrase? If nothing changes, if nothing changes. So we have that power. And one more thinkers, one more doers, they are the people that know that they have that power to change, to really think about the forces and what is in our beliefs, all of that. We have the power to change that and to shift that. I love, and I say this all the time. If you listen to anything that I've ever said, a Zoom that I've ever done, I probably say it in every single Zoom. What you focus on expands. If you're focused on only the negative, then you're right. It's going to be negative. But if you focus on the positive, then it's going to be positive. And I always like that example I used when I was car shopping. And I've heard other people use this, but when I was car shopping, I knew what I wanted. I found what I wanted online. I took my husband to the dealership. I'm like, that's the car that I want. And it was a Nissan Pathfinder, and I still have it today. And literally, from the day that I went to see it for the first time till the day that we went to go actually drive it home, suddenly I saw Nissan Pathfinders everywhere. Does that mean that everybody in New Jersey ran out and bought Nissan Pathfinders between A and B? No, but that's what I was focused on. And so suddenly that's what I saw all around me. So one more thinkers know that. And they know how when it starts to get negative, what they're focusing on is negative, they flip their script and they become really good at that. And I'm going to talk about some ways to do that. He talks about one more try. I love this idea of compound progress is the key element to success. I remember years ago, I went on the very first Plexus cruise that Plexus ran, and Sarah Marble, one of the diamonds, talked on stage and she said, it is simple actions done repeatedly are what get you to diamond. That compound effect. The more you try, the more you're going to achieve. It is simply doing it over and over and over again. And I always like to think, and he talks about this analogy of a piñata. Think about a piñata. All these kids are going up and they're hitting a piñata, and the goal is to get the candy to come out. It is the kid with that one more hit that suddenly the goal has been achieved and that candy pours out and you have a whole bunch of happy little kiddos. But so many times we stop short of that last hit that's going to get us the candy. One more, people don't stop. And I can drop in a graphic of the guy digging. The top part of the cartoon is the guy digging, 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 digging for the gold or the diamond or whatever he's trying to achieve. And then the bottom part of the graphic is the guy digging, digging, digging. And he turns around and he's got like this much space left to his goal, but he gave up too soon. People that are one more people do not give up. They don't stop. He talks about time management, and this is always a huge one when, for myself personally, something I struggle with. When I'm coaching, it's something that I hear a lot. People talk about managing time. I work a full-time job outside of Plexus. I am a busy dance mom with my girls and it's dance competition season, right? So we are always on the go. But I did a call tonight with a prospect and I told her, I was like, busy people are sometimes the most successful because they only have nuggets of windows to fit the stuff in. And Bree can tell you probably every June, I'm like, summer's here, Bree. I'm gonna go diamond this summer. I've got all the time in the world. And September 1st comes and it's, what'd you do? Because suddenly I have an open schedule. And suddenly I don't have that small nugget of time to get things in. So time management is extremely important for success. He talks about our perception of time. And I love this idea. He reminds us that Christmas, think about Christmas season between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now, if you're like me as a mom of three, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 4 weekends to get it all done and to get it all in and make it the most magical Christmas ever for my kids. My kids, it seems like it takes forever from Thanksgiving until Santa comes. Right? Do you remember being a kid and that seemed so long? Summer seemed like it would never end. Well, me as a teacher now, I'm like, summer goes by too fast. So our perception of time impacts us. He talks about adding more days to our day, and he has a system of breaking 24 hours into three separate days. And one of that's it's if you approach time with this sense of urgency, he says there's a direct correlation between how fast we run versus how close we are to the finish line. Really taking control of that time instead of letting time control you. He also talks about, and I've heard many Jules talk about this as well, the first 30 minutes of your day is critical. And doing what you don't want to do, what you don't like to do in the first 30 minutes of your day. So this way it's done. Those of you that know me, you know, I like to work out. Um, and I have been on kicks where I work out first thing in the morning, and I've done it where I've worked out after school. And I'll be honest with you, my workouts are better first thing in the morning. I don't want to get up and go down to the gym. But when I do it, it's done, it's out of the way, and I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. By the afternoon or the evening, I'm tired and I'm really not putting in my all. That's me, though, as far as workouts go. But doing what you don't want to do in the first 30 minutes. He also talks about measuring your performance. He talks about SMART goals, but having a time to it, a time frame. I'm going to achieve this by this time and holding yourself accountable. Focusing on the future and not living in the past. I'm going to say that again, focusing on your future and not living in the past. And when I say living in the past, I mean the good or the bad from the past. Because sometimes we get really caught up in those success stories from 5 years ago. And so we stop focusing on the success story for tomorrow. Or we get caught up in the failure from 5 years ago, and it holds us back from achieving the success story tomorrow. And that's all part of time. Because if we're focusing on the past, it's taking up the present. He says, don't live in the past. Dream about the future while taking decisive action to shape your future. He talks about one more emotion. Our life is linked to our emotions, and changing our emotions is an intentional act. He talks about one more association. And every time I hear this chapter or I skim through this chapter or when I was reading it, I'm back at like 12 years old and I hear my mom going, you are who you hang out with. You're not going to change them. They're going to change you. And that really, there's a lot of truth to that. We say we are the sum of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So who are you putting yourself around? And are they people that are building you up, that are challenging you to be better, that are encouraging you? Or are they people that are tearing you down, saying, oh, you do one of those? You're in one of those network marketing things? Oh. Think about who you're surrounding yourself with. Are they people that are passionate about the same things that you are, that want a better tomorrow? Or are they people that are content and comfortable with where they are? He talks about one more dream. To be successful, we need to live our dreams, imaginations, rather than fear and insecurities from the past. He talks about creating a vision board and writing your dreams down. If you have not ever listened to Megan Milakovich, she's a diamond in the company. She is probably one of the best speakers I hear that talk about casting the vision, creating the vision for yourself, but also for the people that you're talking to, whether it's a health vision that you're creating for them, if they're a product lover, or it's a business vision that you're creating for them, if it's somebody that wants to run with the business. She talks about how her very first convention, and she wrote down her goals. And she still has all of those original vision boards and those sheets where she wrote her goals down. So think about that. One more people are people that are intentional with their goals and where they want to be. Talks about one more question to ask ourselves. This was a shorter chapter, but really asking yourself the difficult questions. Are you truly doing the things to get you where you want to be? He talks about goals and standards. And I found this really interesting, these two chapters, 9 and 10, because he talks about setting corresponding standards. So creating standards that are going to help us reach our goals. So it's one thing to say, I want to be a diamond, okay? Or it's one thing to say, I want to make $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month. But what he says is important, more so than even stating that goal, is what are the actions that you're going to do to achieve that goal? Those actions are the standards that you're willing to tolerate. So, for example, maybe your standard is I'm going to reach out to 10 new people every single week. That is a standard that you are setting for yourself. It is measurable, it is timely, it is attainable, it's realistic. I'm not saying I'm going to reach out to 100 new people each week. Those are the standards that we set. He talks about goals become a byproduct of reaching our standards. And he also says, what are you willing to tolerate? And that part hit me hard. Because he says, can you tolerate the business results that you're getting? Are you willing to tolerate the results that you're seeing in your back office on April 30th? Does it match what you said on April 1st? Did you set the standards to get you to April 30th? And did you reach those standards along the way? He talks about one more impossibility and impossibility thinkers and possibility achievers. He says one more philosophy, this concept of one more in all things, combines both thinking and doing. One more thinking is incomplete if not followed with action. I can say all day long that I'm building a business with Plexus Worldwide. But if I'm not doing the action, then I'm not really building a business with Plexus Worldwide. So your action has to be put into place, or what you think, you have to put it into action. He talks about one more habit. And I always say that we can change our habits. If so many times people say, oh, it's a habit, I can't break it, but you can. Or you can create a new habit just by doing something consistently. The trigger is an intentional thought. It's the repetition of it, right? Then the action is the response to the trigger, and the prize is the payoff. So when you think about the habits that are going to get you to success, sending those messages, moving your body on a regular basis, taking your supplements on a daily basis, posting about everything on social media, posting in your stories, you do those on a regular basis, then they'll become a habit. He talks about the multiplier, which kind of refers to a little bit about the tribe and who we are, and the greatness attracts greatness. He also talks about one more inconvenience. We have got to get uncomfortable. I was extremely uncomfortable on Saturday. Nikki Metzler has inspired me. I have watched her. I have messaged her multiple times over the last year because she does vendor events and she does them beautifully and she does them all the time. She does them scared, right? And as extroverted as I am, the thought of doing a vendor event scared the crap out of me. But I did it. I stepped out of my comfort zone. Nothing's going to change, right? If I don't start doing the uncomfortable things, then I can't complain in a year from now when I'm still at the same point value as I was. He also talks about leadership and one more leadership. And if we really are here because we want a business with Plexus, then we have got to do the things and cast the vision and help others do them as well. It says, help others do the things they would not accomplish without your presence. Selling a big dream, creating a vision. He gives his leadership principles in chapter 16. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they're really powerful and they really make you think. And the reality is this: once you signed up one customer, you became a leader because that person followed you. They didn't follow me. They didn't follow Bree. They didn't follow Nikki. They didn't follow Jess or Angie or Baker or Wendy. They followed you. You're leading for them. So once you did that, you stepped into a leadership position. And are you helping them to see the big picture? He talks about this concept of calmness and serenity in a chaotic world. And I don't know about you, but if you turn on the news, it feels very chaotic, right? But one more thinkers, one more doers, they stay calm in the chaos. He talks about the power of faith. He is very self-proclaimed a Christian. And he talks about how his faith has impacted him in his business. But he also talks about openly, if you're not a faith-based person, whatever it is your belief system is in, how that can help your business. And the last chapter, he talks about this one more. And it's a really emotional chapter. He talks about when his father passed away, and his father really was this driving force is behind the concept of one more. He talks about his father's battle with alcoholism, but he shares that his father, once he overcame his addiction to alcohol, he just kept striving for that one more. And he talks about, we don't know, we're never guaranteed tomorrow, right? And so are you giving your one more effort today? Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so I'm going to wrap it up because I know Bree wants to share some stuff too, but this is what I'm going to say. One more people don't stop. One more people keep going. One more people dream big. One more people do one more. He shares a story about how he was, and I think this was actually in a podcast. I don't remember if this was in his book, but he shares a story about how he was in the gym. And this was, I don't know, several years ago. And he's watching this young guy and he's, whatever, lifting weights. And he's like, wow, man, how many of those do you do to get biceps like that? And the guy looks at him and he goes, think about like a 20-year-old nowadays and their full cockiness. But he goes, until I can't anymore. And when I heard that, it really hit me hard. And it hit apparently Ed Milet hard too, because he was like, I realized I was just doing things to check off a box. So this is what I'm going to leave you with. Are you doing things to just check off a box? Or are you doing things to really push you to the tomorrow that you want? Are you really doing things until you can't anymore? And that's all I got.
I was just typing. That was such a good way to end it and wrap up into this next part. Are you checking a box or are you doing something for tomorrow? How many of y'all want to triple your team size in April, right? How many of you would want to 10x your team size in April? I mean, if we're here, we want it, right? So I want to just really quickly, I know we have about 5 minutes, go through some stuff that is working really, really well. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. And if you're not doing it, this is the next one more thing. Okay. We have been, I think last week I did like 40 calls in like 3 days. It was wild and it was so much fun. And today I didn't do any. I needed to do some little league stuff, unfortunately, but y'all didn't pack my day with phone calls. And I was like, this is the most boring day ever. Like, I'm not with people, I'm not on three-way chats. It doesn't feel like anything's happening because you have to stay close to the fire. How many of y'all are intimidated by three-way calls? It's okay. You can be honest. Yeah, Nikki, I love that you're always honest with it. You're like, yep, me, I don't love that you make me do these. Here's the deal. This is a huge, 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 huge part of your business. And the fact that we're not doing it is my fault. I'll own that. I don't have an upline. When Wendy joined, she didn't get on a three-way call. And guess what? You duplicate down what you know, right? And so this is something that our team hadn't really duplicated down. And in fact, Mina came from another company and she was like, well, everybody does three-way calls. I was like, no, they don't. Like, I've been doing this for a year now. Nobody does three-way calls. She's like, yeah, I'm going to get on because there's somebody in between us, right? So here's the deal. If you are not doing them, we're going to go through really, really quickly what one looks like. I'm going to show you some resources. And Robin actually already took some of the resources that I put in the page today, and she already sent the email to every single person in her team. So we're going to go through some of this stuff because here's the deal, y'all. It is about the community. It's about getting them started, and it's about the duplication every single time getting them on the phone. It does not matter if it's a VIP that told you that they're never ever going to share or if it's a VIP that's like, oh, yeah, I want to do this. Jess and I got on with one of her girls over the weekend. Immediately afterwards, she put up a post and had people interested. It works. Okay. So here's what this looks like. Actually, let me share my screen because then I can kind of walk you guys through this. Do y'all mind if we go like 2 minutes over tonight? I know we've got that other call and people are, I know that I was in three-way chats, y'all were inviting and you have some of your team hopping on. So if you need to, I'm recording. So this is our team page. If you go into media, I am trying to make this so that y'all can just plug and play in lots of different areas and find it. So team page, go to media. If you're on your phone, it looks a little bit different, but I'm on my computer. You need to click on albums. If you go into this leadership link, this is where I've been putting quick links for y'all to just be able to go in and join and look at. When you're in here, I have all of the steps for a three-way call. Okay. You can either click on it and you can read it down through. I put it in as a PDF file underneath of the files, or there's a Canva link that you can click on here too. If you want to print this out so that you have it in front of you, go to the file section. You can print it out. You can go through it word for word. The three-way call is threefold. To get somebody on the phone, you're simply saying, and this is what all of us are using, is, hey, I just wanted to pop on a three-way chat so we can get you started the right way. We're just going to talk through products and some of the stuff that you got when you ordered. What time works for you? 10 or 15 minutes. The things that you make normal are normal, right? When Bree joined with me a couple of days ago, I was like, hey, we get on a call and we chat things through. She got on a call, we chatted things through. It's normal when you make it normal, right? So you get on this phone call, it's threefold. You're going to talk through products. You're going to talk through what they have in their back office or in their site with their referral link and their perks. And then you're going to mention the opportunity. Not everybody is going to run with it. Not every single person is going to be like, okay, I'll put up a post. But guess who is not going to ever put up a post? the person who never knows that they should put up a post. And so if you're not getting people on the phone and talking through this, get them on the phone and talk through it. And don't you dare start thinking, well, I don't know enough. Yes, you do. You're here. You know enough. And the whole fact of this, right, is when you get on that call, your upline is on that call too. So when Cheryl signs somebody new, Nikki is on the phone with her and they're walking it through together. And guess what? If you don't know an answer to a question, you say, I'm in a group with thousands of people. And I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to find out because that's a reinforcement of the community that we're a part of. Okay. So I'm not going to read this verbatim to you, but you can go down through. This call is about them. Listen more than you talk. Because I guarantee you, you're going to start hearing like, I don't like my job. I don't want to work there all the time. I'm not going to the bathroom regularly, to increase the bile cleanse, right? But if you're talking the entire time, you can't hear what they really want. And just for all of y'all, I put in a troubleshooting guide in this too, so that you have this all at your fingertips. So if somebody's like, I'm not going to the bathroom as much, or I've got heartburn or whatever it is, everything is here, all how to take it. Okay. There's a quick guide link there for you. So referral link, you're going to just say, hey, a couple of things about when you ordered in the middle here, subs. You can get a sub. That makes me hungry. You can keep on a sub or you cannot. It's completely up to you, but you're going to want to. You're just going to talk through this stuff with them. This next part, it is super transitional. The other thing that you might have noticed when you were ordering, did you notice that little part that said referral link and then you put your first and your last name in there? Cool. Okay. So when you did that, that's your referral link. When somebody sees you drinking your pink drink and they want it too, you've already got that referral link. If 3 people order the products that you do, it's $350 back. You want to see people's mouths hit the floor, you say that to them on a Zoom. People have no idea. And it's the first interest. If they seem interested, you just say, hey, do you know anybody? And then ask for the shout out post. What you make normal is what's going to become normal. Okay. This is all in here for you. And then I even quick linked it for your follow-up system. So the first 90 days of messages that you get to send to people is all in here too. Okay, so that's the 3-way call, the 3-way outline. The other thing that I want to start empowering y'all to do, along with this 3-way call, people want to be able to have something to look back at. How many of y'all, when you order from a company, love that they send you an email and it's got like different guides in there, different things that you can look at? This is all in here for you too in this email template. You can literally just copy and paste this all over to them. There's links to our websites. There's link to a wellness tracker. There's link to the Plexus flip book, so that when they get this email, they'll be able to print this stuff off. They can see all of the stuff that you've just talked about in the 3-way chat. It's all in this email for you so that you can just copy and paste it over. It links to the Health and Happiness Lounge. It links to our team page. There's a video that's in here on how to get started, on how to make $300. And then there's a link or an example of the shout out post. And then you just sign it with your name. I want you guys to be encouraged by this, not to send it out for your team, but for them to send it out. Okay. So like, I'm not sending this out for Mina. Mina's sending this. If you have somebody that's on your team that's sharing, encourage them to copy and paste it and send it over. It's all there. If you want to add something cute in there, like, hey, I love talking to you, whatever that looks like, do that. That's completely fine. But encourage them to be the leader and to send that out to them. And then this follow-up and duplication system, everything that we just talked about is all here for every single person on your team, y'all. Spend some time and go through this. When you have somebody that's brand new that's sharing, Don't just take it and do everything for them. Make sure that you're empowering them to do it because they are being the leader on the team, right? We want every single person to know that they can do this because they can. And so go through. This is your job as a leader. Robin did an amazing job with this. She had an explosive end of the month. Nikki had an explosive, so many of y'all had an explosive end of the month. And so your job as a leader, right? And my job as a leader is to go, and I did this in Robin's chat today. Hey, did you make sure and send everybody a getting started guide? And do you have everybody scheduled with a three-way call? Do not let anybody slip through the cracks. And I'm going to challenge you with this, and we're going to close out because I know we're a little bit over. The things that you were doing on the last day of the month to earn your iPad, to get the face mask, to hit the next rank, are you doing that now? Are you messaging people with the same tenacity? Are you following up with the same amount of care and love? Or are you just like, oh, we had massive momentum. I'm just going to sit back. Because if you don't capitalize on that and you sit back on it, you're going to have to recreate it. And that freight train is a lot harder to keep recreating rather than to keep it going. Okay. Do not sit back on the momentum that we have right now. In the next 24 hours, make sure everybody on your team has this and that you're going back in and that you're following up with people. Y'all, this business is not about an iPad. It's not about a red light therapy mask. It's not about an iWatch. It 100% is about you creating the life and the legacy that you want to live with your family. And you haven't been on a Zoom on a Monday night for the last 40 minutes because you want that iPad. Are iPads nice? Yep, they are. Do I love my red light mask? Yep, because it's really fun to creep up on my kids when I'm wearing it. But that's not why I'm doing this, right? That's not why you're still here. And so if you haven't, like Mina talked about, do you have your vision board? Is it printed out? Is it in front of you? Do you know what you're working for? And every day when you sit down, what are you focusing on? That's what's going to get you to the next level. And I don't want you on April 30th to be like, ooh, crap, I didn't do everything that I should have done. Now I'm going to send 45 messages in one day. That's not who we are in this company. And that's not going to be the thing that gets you to that next level.
Bree, can I chime in too, real
Yep.
quick? Just a reminder too, as this is something that popped in my mind this past week. Well, it's Monday, so I guess last week. It's Easter this month and it's spring break, and a lot of people go and travel. And Easter is towards the end of the month. Spring break here in this area is the week after Easter, not the week leading up to Easter, but pay attention to those things because people are going to be away. And so reach out before that time. Front load more.
All right. Next 24 hours, when you've started sending the emails, when you've looked over that three-way call and you've got three-way calls scheduled and you've looked through that checklist, drop it in the team chat. 24 hours. I'm challenging every single one of us. All right. Love you, ladies. Happy Monday. Thank you, Mina.